right, welcome back to School of FAB. If you guys been following me on my YouTube channel, you've seen parts of Junebug on there, and we're back on it. So what this is a 2003 Ford F-150, and the whole reason for this whole bit was we're trying to figure out why everyone uses a Crown Victoria or what is the other one, Ford Ranger
For
on an
their
old
swap.
truck, right? So we had a chance, an opportunity where we had both vehicles, and we were just going to see if it worked. And we didn't know if it was going to work or not. So there was a chance of messing both vehicles up. But luckily, we were almost there. Like, we were able to peel the body off of the 2003. We left the floor in the firewall. And then once that was all set, we
See
cut
if
the.
I can take a peek and say.
Yeah, it's kind of messy in there, but.
Oh, never mind. Let's jump back. So yeah.
I ain't cleaned it yet. So then we cut the floor and the firewall out of this cab, and we set the cab, trimmed the floor where it would fit. That way we could weld the 2003 floor to our 59 body. And we were able to do that. So now it was a long bed. We cut, I don't remember, 27 inches, 28 inches. We cut a lot
A lot out of the
out of
frame.
the frame. And now this is where we're at. So I've made an outer plate that's going to be bolted in and also going to be welded in. And then I made an inner plate, which is going to bolt onto the outer plate, and it's also going to be welded in and bolted. And then I'm going to box it in. So now I've got to work on my other plate so I can box all this in. Oh, and then I'm going to build a cross member. I'll build a cross member. I'll have a big hole for my drive shaft. And then I'll put one hole for my exhaust. I might put two holes because maybe later we'll get dual exhaust. It's not important to me right now. So,
Future thinking.
right, right. So we'll have the hole there, and if we ever do dual exhaust, and then um,
It's set up already.
it's already set up. So I think it's gonna look good. I think it's gonna be strong. And so for now, it's just a matter of making all my templates.
Yay for the template making.
Yay for the template. Right, it's a ton, but it's necessary.
Oh, agreed.
Oh,
Super
look,
excited.
here's a little drawing, as you can see, kind of the idea. Man, I never have a Sharpie when I need one. Hold on 2 seconds. So here's an idea of my little cross member that I'll make, and I'll probably have it there, and then have this attached to the frame. And then a little open space there, a hole for my exhaust, a big hole for my drive shaft.
Call it a day.
Then it'll be bolted or welded to the frame. Everything will be boxed in as far forward as I can go, and I might bring it back to here, box all that in, just so it's all one solid piece. And I don't know if y'all seen one of these. It's my tram gauge. It's kind of like a secret weapon. You can't measure wrong with the tram gauge, you know.
Let me give him a little zoom out so that way you can see the.
Look at that. And that's not extended. It extends a little bit further out, but I don't need it that much out. I just wanted to show y'all. This is something that's helping me make sure that my frame is square. Let's take a trip back and see how we got here. This is a 2003 Ford F-150, and we're basically going to cut the body off of this one and set the body of a 1958 Ford F-100 on it. So, never really seen it done. I'm sure it has been done, but this is our go at it. There we go. And there we have it. pretty much, this is gonna wrap today up. But as you see, we've taken the entire front end off. The bed, besides this gas cap, should be entirely, oh, I still got something, the old trusty strap to hold it into place. Whoa, dude.
What?
Check this out. Hold on. I forgot this was back here. All right, you guys are gonna get to see some cool stuff. Back in 2015, I chopped my first top with Gene Winfield at Houston Autorama. And while we were there, he kept asking for poster board, big poster board. So they finally got him these. All of a sudden, he started drawing on it, okay? And he drew and he drew and he's explaining everything. These are all handmade tools that we will make on this show. And he drew all of this stuff. And after drawing all of this and explaining how it works and how to make it, he looks at me and he says, I'm giving these to you. And I'm like, me? I mean, there's a whole group of guys here, but for some reason he chose me. And now I have 3 awesome hand-drawn poster boards of handmade tools to be able to fabricate almost anything. So pretty cool stuff. I just thought I'd share that with y'all. Wow, so cool. I can't believe I found this in there. So now that we've got this trimmed, we're just gonna keep trimming on it a little more. All right, there it is. We've got it completely stripped down. We got the windshield out. I told you about the floor. We've got it cut out to the same exact size as this cab. Now, I guess the next order of business will be pulling the dash completely off and slowly skinning, peeling all this skin off these frame rails, I guess. I don't know what you want to call them, but they've got to come out. The A-pillar has to come out completely. And I'll probably just cut it close to the firewall like we did the floor. Keep it all the same width, 55 inches. So keep it all the same width. So that's gonna be it for today. The next time we come on, all this stuff should already be off. And we'll get started on the 58. So we just cut the A-pillar off. I'm using the original firewall, and I'm going to use the A-pillar off of the 58. So we should be able to get in here and weld it in. I'm going to leave this brace in here, peel this off, and brace it in. Now what I'm trying to accomplish here is I want to take the radiator support off of this 03, but keep the support that holds the radiator and condenser in place, and take the old radiator support out of the 58 motor compartment, and hopefully we can find a way to weld this to that radiator support somehow. Make it one piece. That's the plan. So all right, so here we go. We've got the cab sitting on its back. This is the front of the cab. This is your firewall. This is your floorboard. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut the firewall all the way from the top. Just follow the line down. Right here, it's got a step to get in the cab. I'm just gonna cut it straight, and then we'll figure out what we got to do. We got to cut the rocker out. I can make one by hand if I need one. I'm not gonna worry about too much detail. I really just want to get this on. Next step, cut this floor out. So here we go. Is 64 1/4 inches all the way. Yep, 64 3/8. Now that we know that the width is going to fit, we had to determine where our firewall is going to sit. And once we determine where the firewall is going to sit, and then we can come in here and measure from the back of the cab to where we think our firewall is going to be, which is probably about 48. It's probably about 4 feet. Pushing it at 48.5, but. And now I'll go to the new truck and I'll measure from the firewall to 48 inches, and that's how far back we're going to have to trim that floor. And another thing also that I was just looking at, I tried to avoid it, but I only guessed, I didn't measure. My bracing that I did for this, I think it's going to hit my steering. I know it's going to hit my steering. So I'm going to re-brace it higher and just try to keep my doors as square as possible. Even if I have to add some ridiculous metal in here just to keep it from moving. Which doesn't matter if it moves too much because I could always move it back. So this is our new bracing. I'll cut the bottom double H out and I'll move it up if I can. If not, I'll completely get rid of it. I think this should be strong enough to let me know that my doors belong there and my width is right there and it shouldn't move. So I think we're good, man. Next order, setting the cab on here. Looking at this, I know I've got 48 inches. That's how long my cab's gonna be. So it puts me about right here, the back of the 58 cab to be sitting right where this line is. So what I've got to do now is, since my bracing, my body bracing, my cab bracing is right here, I'm gonna have to brace it up here somewhere. And once I get this braced, and then I can unbolt that and cut it, trim it, however I need to do to get it out of the way. And I think once I get that done, we'll start setting the cab on there and see if we can get that thing put on by the end of the day. So that's the goal. I made these. These are my body mounts. I just made them out of a couple of washers I found. I'm drilling a hole here. There's a brace that comes across here. I'm using that brace to make my new body mounts. I've got this where my bolt will go through. Once I tighten it up, I'll spot weld that. The reason I chose this area right here for my body mount is because the floor has a bracing underneath it that goes all the way across to the other side. So I figured if I strengthen it here, it'll be just as strong as my body mount that's back here located, see? And back here it's the same thing. There's a brace, and they're using the brace to put their body mount in. So we're doing similar. These are my body mounts because I'm just using what I can find. And the way it's going to work, this will be in between the floor and the frame. And then this will go through. And then this wire goes through the frame, and then we'll lock it in place. Now, I know I'm using 3/8 bolts, but they're grade 8, so hopefully they're strong enough. I'll upgrade them later. This is just what we have in the shop. I'm not too worried about it. It's not going anywhere. Our body mount is tight. Everything looks good underneath. Our frame is holding our nut that holds the bolt, that holds the floor and the bracing in place. So now, these 4 holes that I drilled out, I'm going to plug them, and this will work as a full-time body mount piece of the structure. So keep it strong and safe. Okay, we'll let that cool down. I'm going to go ahead and pull all these wires off. And once I get all these wires out, oh, look, easy. And then I can mark my line and cut this back half off. And we're one step closer to fitting our cab. We know right now, what we do know is from our firewall to the back of the cab is 48 inches, 4 feet basically. We get to the bottom of the floor and measure out 48 there, and we're roughly around this area here. So I'll mark another one on that side. We'll put a straight edge, mark it, and we'll cut right there first and see what happens. I'll double check to make sure there isn't anything underneath it that's gonna mess up if I cut it. All right, look at this. We've taken out that much out of the floorboard. So now, if you follow me, you can see our new mounter here. This is still solid, it's not moving anywhere. And when our cab fits in here, we'll put our cab up against the body real nice, and then we'll start just to weld it in. And then make some braces, hold it in place, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. This is exciting. So now, time to clean up a little bit and see if I can get that cab over here. I'm going to keep this firewall, of course, holds on my stuff here. This truck from the factory had a huge cowl. This is where the vent goes for the AC. Of course, it held our wiper motor there, which we moved. But my thinking is, my mentality is, I want to cut this here and cut all of this out. And basically my firewall, when you look from the side, my firewall is going to come up and then go back. And this is going to be, this back piece of metal will be attached to the 58. Okay. When you take spot welds, this is how you remove them. I'm going to use this. And basically you want to shave it down and you'll start to see a ring around it. Once you start to see that ring, that's when you know that it's came loose from this metal. So we're going to weld this bar into our inner fenders or inner dash. The reason I'm down here is because I want to show y'all that we did the width and we've trimmed that one down to the same width. It was roughly around 64 inches. The length of the cab was only 48 inches, so we trimmed that one similar. And the next, if you look at this cab is wide at the bottom and it comes in at the top. And this top up here, we reached 56 and 7/8 across here. So we'll have to trim that firewall down about 12.5 inches, and we'll go from there to this firewall. So we know we have 56 and 7/8 over there. Over here, we have 61 All right, and 61 and 3/4 minus 56 and 7/8 is 4 and 7/8. So divide that by 2, and we've got 2 and 3/8 roughly. So we'll trim our firewall at 2.5 just to make sure that we get in there real good. This bar right here that goes across it, I told you we're going to weld to the inside A pillar on the 58 cab. We're going to have to, bring it in also. So we'll cut a section out, and I'm not sure how much. If we're taking out 2.5 here, we'll probably have to take out 2.5 somewhere in here. Okay. So this is what I've been thinking. Um, since we've got to cut into it, we're gonna have to relocate these. So this one, I'll cut it out maybe an inch around it, and I'll move it to the bottom, and I'll just weld it. I'll cut my hole out somewhere else and weld my plate to that, and I think that would be good. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so just real quick, we're gonna start fitting this thing on, trying to figure out what we're gonna fit. I took the original bracing out because, like I said before, I was trying to avoid the steering column, and of course, it hit it. So, in order to get low, as low as I can on this thing, I'm just gonna go down, trim, and slowly but surely we'll start getting it into place. Once we have it tacked in place, I'll get the front end, see if it's going to work. Actually, not tacked in place. Once we get an idea kind of where we want it, then we'll put the front end off. That way we can see where our wheels are going to sit, because it's very important that our wheels are centered to the fender. So I want to show you, as I'm coming down with this, I see this here, which is my inner cowl, and I know I'm going to have to trim some of this off. So we'll trim some of it off on this side. So far, everything is fitting right. We're on all the way around except the rear. But I just wanted to show you that. Here, where it comes in right here, I'll just trim it as we go, and we'll get it to fit. Coming to this side, same thing. You see the inner cowl right there. So I'll trim this piece like this. That way we can keep coming down lower. Everything over here is looking good. This is where our wiring harness was. Here on the inside, you see my floor, the original floor off the 03, and you see this is how much we've got to come down. It's not coming down anymore because we're hitting right here on this cab. That's why it's kind of bent right there, if you can see it. So my solution to that is a quick, easy one. If y'all follow me to the back, what I'm going to do, first off, I'm going to mark it with my square, and I'm going to end up cutting it right on the outside of this line. And I'll tell you why I'm doing it. Because what we're going to end up doing, we'll come to there. And then from here, we'll come straight down to there. Okay. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out, slide it over this way, and we'll refill this gap which will probably be about 2 inches. So now that I got it cut out, it's double skinned, inner and outer. I'll just put it like this roughly so you get an idea. I'll end up putting it around here, let it clear my frame, and then we'll come back and fill this gap up. I'll trim it here, that way we keep this the same, and it would look like it never happened. I'm gonna do the other side, and we'll keep going. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and trim this. I really want to get this cab sitting at least in place. It doesn't have to be perfect today, but we're getting close. We're getting close. A little bit of trimming, as you can see. Now I'm gonna start sitting it down. I just want to show y'all real quick. This is the original cow. This is where my wipers was sitting in, and now that the wiper's gone, I cut all this stuff out. So this stuff here, you see it kind of beat back. I beat it back because it slides right here behind the cow, the 58. So it's almost like it fits it perfectly almost, because once I slide it into there, that kind of locks it into place. Now, I don't expect it to fall into place. A little wiggle here, a little wiggle there, and it all comes. All right, come forward a little bit, maybe to that side a little bit, so we're not hitting on anything. All right, we're still good. Let's come down some more. Check everything again. Make sure nothing's caught up. Do a little more. Now the main thing is making sure that we're behind our cow, which we are behind our cow down there. It's kind of hard to see, but see, as I push back on the firewall, it falls into place. Okay, and there it is. As you see, that's where it sits. Now it's just a matter of getting it straight on the frame and welding it, tacking it, joining them. You know the drill. And then I'm just gonna get busy getting it center and start welding some brackets in there to make sure that my cab doesn't move anymore.